This NASCAR One and Done Picks 2026 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACESGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting until I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Happy holidays, everybody, as we begin to start celebrating the holiday season, as you can see on the YouTube. And Cody and I are in full holiday spirit. And listen, if you're not watching YouTube, this is a perfect time for you to jump over and watch the YouTube as you'll see us just decked out in holiday gear.
Yeah, well, we gotta be in the holiday spirit, Rod. I am wearing my I told you when you were doing the ad reads for the SGPN store, I was gonna get the Santa Claus sweatshirt with the over 2.5 hose. So I did get it. I'll model for everyone.
It's a beautiful sight, my friends. That is Santa looking all nice and sleek on fleek. That's an old phrase, I think. with his sunglasses and over 2.5 hose. It's outstanding. Me, if you're not watching, I've just got my hat and my little jingle bells.
You look very festive, Rod. I am supporting the Nebraska basketball teams, which both men and women still undefeated. So one of only 3 schools in the country that can say that about both of their teams. Just glad we're a basketball school these days.
Well, listen, you got to do something, right? You got to hang your hat somewhere. And speaking of hats, our festive hats, we're hanging them today on the NASCAR One and Done pools that we'll discuss. Obviously, if you've never done a one and done pool, if you're new to the whole concept, there's 36 races. There are 36 drivers in the field. You pick one driver to be able to finish. It doesn't have to win the race, just finish well, score points, and continue to move on. It's not like Survivor pools where you got to pick the winner, and if you don't pick it, you're out. This, at least you get an opportunity to have a little leeway.
Yeah, it's the NASCAR version of a Survivor pool, right? But no eliminations. Basically, like you said, you get and so we've run this on some different sites over the past couple of years, having our own contest. We usually do like $10 entry or whatever. So this will be kind of an evergreen episode throughout the off season. So if you're listening now, it's almost Christmas, right? Christmas week here. We're doing it a little bit early this year because we're still kind of waiting on some of the other odds and stuff that are out. But I will be putting together a contest as soon as the game opens for 2026, which I would imagine will be here in the new year. So if you're listening early, check back, right, at Husker_Zeeb, Discord. I'll share the link, all those places. If you're listening prior, right before the season, cramming in all the off-season content, check it out at Husker_Zeeb. I'll try and pin that post once I get that all set up, along with any other contests we have. But NASCAR does have their own version of this now. The 36, I don't know what they call the pool. I think it's just the 36 and 36 or whatever. So for their pool, a little different from some of the other pools we've had where it's the 36 points guys. You get them, you pick one for each race. Some of the other pools that we've done and some of the pools you might be in, you are allowed to do open cars and whatnot. So we'll definitely talk about some of those as we kind of go through things. But NASCAR's rules are one driver per race, 36 drivers, 36 races, and they get the points they earn in the race. So stage points count, finishing points count, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's how they'll score it over there.
And it's a lot of fun because, again, you only get to use them once, so you have to be judicious. And when you pick the drivers first, and I'll tell you, I'm going to talk strategy in a little bit because there's one that I would like to sort of employ as you look through last season and if it carries over into this season. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. There's not a lot of different ways, though, to have fun with this as you download all of our free picks and podcasts in one convenient place. Where is that? It is the SGPN app. Go download it for free in your app store. All you got to do is type in SGPN. Checking in with Nico real quick. He's saying, happy holidays, gents. It's a balmy 33 degrees Celsius, which for those of us on this side of the hemisphere, 92 degrees Fahrenheit. Great beer drinking weather in the winter. Hey, Cody, we've talked about it. It's actually good beer drinking weather here in the States. Man,
we've been enjoying summer over here. It was a nice 60 degrees here in Nebraska in December. We're on track, Rod, according to the weather forecasters, to set a Christmas Day record high. It's going to be around 65 or so. There were parts of the state yesterday at 80 degrees in late December in Nebraska. Insane. So, hey, I'm sure we'll pay for it on the back end with some cold ass weather, but I'm going to enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah, no, listen, and over here in California, we're in the mid 60s. So yeah, this is almost like summer weather for us over here in the winter, but that's neither here nor there. Let's start discussing and dissecting this. And like we said, there are those 36 races in the season. We'll split them up. We're going to make this episode a two-parter. So we'll have the first 18 races of the season with one, finish up tomorrow.
Live. I think we're just going to go back to back on this, right? So,
absolutely.
If you're listening live on the YouTube, we're going to finish this one out, close the stream, pop open a new one, and you'll be able to get them both tonight. If you're listening on the podcast, you're going to have to wait for part 2 until Christmas Eve, unless you go over to YouTube where it's already posted.
Or you have to actually go to Christmas Day for part 3 or part 2 rather, because this is coming out tomorrow on the podcast. Sure. I did not hit publish, and I published.
I wondered about that when I saw the notification that it was published this morning. I was like, I feel like Rod might have forgot to post that last night, but it's good. Listen on the way to Grandma's house. It's all good.
It is. We're
getting the whole family involved.
We're giving you a Christmas present on Christmas Day of the one and dones. So again, 36 drivers, 36 races. We'll pick one for each one of these. And again, they don't have to win the race, but they do have to do well, and they do have to be a driver that you got your eye on. So I feel like now's a good. There's a couple of news stories to get to, right, Cody? What do you got on the news desk?
Yeah, there's a couple of things fresh off the news desk here, Rod. So I will pull up the news. Actually, that's just my driver's list, so never mind. Let me go to the phone where I have the actual news at. Yeah, there was been some announcements here lately. We learned a couple of weeks ago Nick Sanchez was informed he wasn't going to get that 48 ride with Big Machine Racing, so we assumed somebody came in with more money. It was an optometrist, a doctor of eye surgery, Rod, that jumped in. Patrick Starpoli. He's going to be full-time in the Xfinity Series, driving for Big Machine Racing. Look, this is what the sport is. It's unfortunate. It sucks definitely for a lot of reasons, but this is what racing is. This is what racing has been for a long time. What racing is going to continue to be. It is a business, and money speaks, and this is not a cheap sport, right? You don't grab a basketball and throw up a hoop and go play the game. Racing is an expensive sport. If you bring money, you're going to have an advantage over some others, whether the talent's there or not. TBD on Mr. Patrick Starr here, but he gets the ride because he brings the money. So I guess congrats to him for getting that ride. We'll see how he does. Nick Sanchez set a pretty high bar in that 48 car last year. I have a hard time seeing Patrick Starpoli living up to it, but TBD.
Hey, Parker Kligerman set a high bar in that 48. So, I mean, you know, Nick Sanchez just sort of took the mantle, and now Patrick Starr just proves to me I'm paying too much for my optometrist in all rights and accounts. So
yes,
if you can field NASCAR team, I'm paying too much for your services.
Yeah. Ford notably has been lacking in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. And that's going to change a little bit. They are adding Hettinger Racing, who's going to step up and become a full-time team in the Xfinity Series with Ford and Roush Yates this year. Their statement, this is about putting the right race team in the right place at the right time. The NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series has incredible momentum. So Ford's obviously looked around the room, realized that they're only standing there with a couple of cars, and they're like, yeah, we better do something about this, right? So I've not seen any driver announcements on that yet. Nick Sanchez looking for a ride, so who knows? We'll see. But, stay tuned for that. At least Ford's going to get a couple more cars out there. They had a lot of their cars poached by Chevy this past offseason. The Haas factory team moved over there. The Sieg team moved over there. Viking Motorsports moved over there. Quite a few changes as far as the Ford camp went in Xfinity, now O'Reilly. So, at least Ford is not just giving up on the series, which is good to see. So adding that Hettinger Racing team.
I would like to think that they just realized that, or maybe they knew something like this was coming down the pipe and they didn't mind losing a few of the major teams. But yeah, Ford was looking pretty sparse there. We said it in the earlier episodes. We were like, it's going to make picking the top four a hell of a lot easier than it would have if none of these guys had jumped ship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still, this will probably give us hopefully enough cars to be able to get those bets in, because if there's too limited of cars, they just won't offer the bet at all. So hopefully we'll get some opportunities on longer shot Fords, particularly on the super speedways, but maybe even the road courses too, because you're not really going to have a ringer over there likely. So that'll be interesting. One last final piece of news that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. Tricon bringing back a couple of their truck drivers for 2026. Tanner Gray and Gio Ruggiero both returning to the series, to the team. So that's great to see. They're obviously guys we've talked about a good bit. Gio Ruggiero, especially down the stretch, really kind of coming into his own. Excited to see what he can continue to do over there. And then they're obviously going to be joined by Caden Honeycutt, who's taking over that flagship ride in the number 11.
If they gave us truck series head-to-heads and we had to pick between the three, I'd say three, but the three major Tricon trucks, I guess. Let's just put against Gio, who finishes better this season.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Gio. I think Gio's got the higher ceiling, right? I think that the Tanner's kind of established as a good, solid driver. He's going to have your upside. But Gio seems to has that potential breakout. So, I would take Gio. I think you'd obviously probably get plus money on the side of Tanner Gray. But I'm excited. Look, these guys are good truck drivers. They're in great trucks. We know that this is a solid stable of trucks, right? And we'll see what they can do without Corey Heim, because that's definitely going to be a big question. But Gio's looked great. Tanner's looked great. So good to see those guys getting brought back for another season. I know that's not possible to do with Corey Heim for, I don't even know what the reason is. But, whatever.
Because he's going to drive a Ford in the O'Reilly series. That's
at this point, fuck. He needs something, Rod. Jeez, we got nothing for this man.
That's what I'm saying. Load him up in a Ford. That's fine. He can tear up in a Ford next year. All right. So that'll do it. Hey, Books, if you're listening, that's a market that is very good to tap. So if you're the highest finishing team, right, you could set it up like a group and just sort of give us all 2, 3, 4 and rock from there, right?
Yeah, season-long head-to-heads on Craftsman Truck Series, guys. Like, that's the type of DGen shit we want to talk about and bet on, Rod. So hook us up, Books. You're dragging a lot here this offseason. We only got 54 days, Ty Gibbs days, until the Daytona 500, Rod. I know you're excited about that. I am as well.
I am not excited about that. I am excited, though, to talk about the one and done picks, but I'm also equally excited to tell you about our friends over at Kalshi. We've just partnered up with Kalshi, a real money prediction market, which by the way is legal in all 50 states, and also has some of the coolest commercials I think you will ever see out of these prediction markets. In all 50 states, you can trade tons of markets in sports, including NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and more. Plus, you can even trade props like first TDs. Besides sports, they got a ton of other markets, including politics, entertainment. Hell, we were just talking about it. You can trade on the weather. Kalshi, you can trade on anything. Don't believe me? How about mentions? They've got a little under they got mentions, and it says, what will the announcers say during the Dallas at Washington pro football game? And they're giving you no good as the leader at 64%. A yes will get you 62, a no, 62 cents. A no will get you 46 cents. Tush push at 54%. What a catch at 44%. Those are the markets you got, right? So you want to add a little extra fun to people who don't care about point totals, prop bets. How about figuring out what the announcers are going to say and cheering when you get the cash out on No Good, Tush Push, What a Catch, or all these other markets that they've got going on. Discover what they are over there at Kalshi. And new customers get $20 when they use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. Formally tell you about our friends over at Underdog. Underdog is your home for pick'em entries where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Underdog, you covered this holiday season with Underdog Unwrapped. You'll unwrap tons of promos throughout all of the holidays. We're talking about that fun Sunday NFL slate that's coming up, or not Sunday, how about tomorrow or Thursday NFL slate, the Christmas slate that's going on. How about Javonte Williams? He is set for a half of a rushing and receiving touchdown in this game. His projection is there. It doesn't matter to me anymore because I'm out of the fantasy championship, but give Javonte Williams a touchdown against the Washington Commanders. Take the higher then in that instance. Plus, if you're a brand new customer, play just $5. Get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with Underdog with our promo code RACE, SGPN. Full Christmas slate for those of you who do not want to pay attention to the family happenings that are going on in your house.
Some interesting games, Rod. I just posted the article with all picks for all three games at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. So go check that out. But I think we're going to have two third-string quarterbacks and a backup quarterback starting on actually, they're all three third-string quarterbacks. Yeah, we're going to have three third-string quarterbacks starting on Christmas Day. So probably not what the NFL intended when they scheduled those games, but that's why you bet on them, because it makes it more fun.
Yeah, don't worry. I've got something later on one of those backup quarterbacks.
All right.
Just not on Brosmer. I'm not really caring about the Minnesota situation, but yeah, we'll get there later. All right, let's talk NASCAR. Let's talk racing. Let's talk one and done. Obviously, the season starts with the Clash, but the Clash is not covered in the regular race schedule. So
point-paying races only, Rob.
Indeed. So the duels don't count either. So we start with the Daytona 500, baby, a super speedway race. Why do this? Is always the fun part of these, because there's what, 4 now? Well, 6 if you can Atlanta.
6,
but
yeah.
6 of these opportunities to use drivers that you don't always get to use. And, you know, that's what makes this fun to start out with, because we can burn almost anybody and call it good.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just the probably obvious statement to make, but statement that needs to be made nonetheless, right, is this is where you burn somebody that's a lesser driver, that's not going to be used at a track down the road, because obviously you have to use everybody in the entire field. So you're going to want to look at one of these guys farther down on your list and grab one of those guys. Now, if your pool allows, we know that there's going to be open cars entered into this race. Obviously, they will have to qualify their way in. Guys like Jimmie Johnson, guys like Justin Allgaier are going to be entered into this race. I know there's some other open cars that are entered and or coming soon to be entered. So, yeah, I know that you've got thoughts on one of those guys, Rob.
So every year, it's almost like clockwork. That comes around the Daytona 500. You find out Jimmie Johnson's going to be
a
in
tradition
the race,
like no other.
And Rod hurries. A tradition like no other. I should get a green jacket for as many times as I do this. But no, listen, it's Jimmie Johnson. And if you've listened to this show for 10 minutes, and the people that hate me know that I love Jimmie Johnson and love to harp on it every time, but I don't care, because I mean, this is the perfect situation in which to not only use him for a one and done, if you're allowed to do so. Again, check the rules and regulations on which drivers are the pool. But like we said before, there's been times where we've been able to use these one-off drivers and sort of not worry about burning through one of the regular charter drivers, in the field. So
they are chartered now, Rod, and they're evergreen premier. They're a premier charters.
Premier drivers, much like the Legacy Motor Club, which Jimmie Johnson drives for and owns. So, yeah, listen, there's no real analysis in this, and just that Jimmie Johnson, there's nothing that you need to hear that you haven't already heard about Jimmie. Winner of this race before, 7-time champion. Like, if there's a place to use him, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're only going to get a few starts from Jimmie on the season. This is obviously going to be one of them. You're not going to use him at San Diego when he starts there. And Look where he finished last year. Where did he finish here last year, Rod?
Top 5, my friends.
Top 5.
Top 3.
So he's absolutely in play. Justin Allgaier as well. Both of those guys are great options. Again, if you're playing outside of the NASCAR.com official website pool, you might have those open car options. Those absolutely are great options because you're not going to have other chances to use them likely. But picking one of the 36, Rod, I have 2 candidates that I'd like to propose to you and one that I would really like to play. The one I would really like to play is one Tyrone Dillon. He's returning again for Colleague Racing in the number 10 car. He's been really, really good at Daytona. 22nd here in the fall, 14th last spring, 11th place here in the fall of 23. Did have a 40th place in the spring of 23 in the 500. That happens. But before that, 18th, 11th, 22nd to 30th. Some bad ones mixed in there, but 4th place, 6th place, 10th place, 6th place. He's got the ability to do really well in these types of races. Doesn't get much when it comes to stage points, so you are going to kind of pass, I guess, on those likely, depending on how things go. But I think you'll get a good finish out of Ty Dillon if we want to use him week 1.
Yeah, and again, that's one of the ones where we just said we could play just about anybody. Ty Dillon is pretty much anybody. I like it. But I want to hear the other 2 that you have to pitch first. I want to hear what you have to pitch on the other. The
other one that I was mostly focusing in on was Cody Ware, a 14.3 average finish here since 2022 in the next gen era. He's been pretty solid. 20th here in the spring, 25th or 20th in the fall rather, 25th in the 500 last year. But before that, a 14th place in the fall of 24. No, a 4th place finish in the fall of 24. Maybe I need to see Dr. Starr get my eyes fixed here, Rod. 14th in the 523, 6th place in the fall of 22, 17th place in the spring of 22. So some pretty good runs, and even next gen or pre-next gen era, 28th, 21st, a 39th sprinkled in there, but a 21st as well. So he's been pretty solid. Again, you're not going to get stage points really out of him, but another guy that there's just not really any great places to burn him. And you're going to likely play these guys at super speedways.
So then do we do Ty Dillon this Daytona and then save Cody Ware for the fall Daytona, or does that
potentially? So one other curveball I could throw at you here, Rod. AJ Allmendinger is available. Now, AJ Allmendinger, you would typically say for a road course, yes, but he's not really been great at road courses lately. So one place he is good is at super speedways. Now, he finished 26th here in the spring or in the fall, so not a good run. He blew his motor, sadly, in the spring and finished 41st. But before that, his Daytona 500 finishes were 6th place, 6th place, 10th place, 3rd place. Oh, those are his 500 finishes in particular, but been good here in the fall as well with some good runs. So, yes, typically you'd consider saving him for a road course, but are we past road course AJ Allmendinger in the Cup Series? So he's another potential. And I think he'd be very different. I don't think a lot of people are going to play AJ first Daytona race of the season. So if you want to be different, another solid option, in my opinion.
Listen, I think I'll go. I think Ty Dillon is the play. We save Cody Ware because Cody Ware has had better finishes in the fall. Cody Ware in 2024, 4th place finish in the fall at Daytona, 6th place finish in 2022 in the fall. He had a better fall finish. It wasn't huge, but a better fall finish last year, a better fall finish the year before that. So I say, yeah, we just keep Cody Ware in our pocket, but we'll play Ty Dillon this time.
Done. Ty Dillon is written in pen on the Daytona Square, Rod. Let's move on to the Echo Park Speedway, a.k.a. Atlanta Motor Speedway, formerly known as, where we're going to do the same conversation all over again because it's another track that is a drafting track. That's the drafting track is what I was looking for, Rod. It's not a super speedway, it's a drafting track.
I get it. But it's still a drafting track to all of us. There's no or a super speedway to those. Speedway. Yeah. Stop messing me up, Cody. All right. So when you look at this one again, this is one where Daniel Suarez comes to mind instantly, but now Daniel Suarez is in a different team. Does that change our opinion?
I don't think that changes anything. I think I don't think there's really any difference. I mean, Trackhouse to Spire, I'd honestly say there's almost no difference in the two teams. They're fairly similar. They're both Chevys. I don't think much is going to change there. He's definitely a great option because he's been really, really good at this track in particular. So, yeah, I mean, if we just want to roll with Daniel Suarez and not even take the conversation farther, I don't mind that. AJ Allmendinger, another guy that would pop up as being good here. Suarez did finish bad here both races last year, 34th and 33rd. But prior to that, obviously, it was very good. Second, first, second. The 29th sprinkled in there, 6th and 4th are his next-gen finishes, which you would not look, obviously, before next-gen because it was a different track. But
yeah, so look, when you look at AJ Allmendinger's finishes here over the last few, I like now we're talking AJ Allmendinger for a second week in a row, but for the same pretty much purposes, 12th, 14th, 3rd, 16th, 29th. Daniel Suarez, on the other hand, he's the 8th best driver in terms of average finish here in the next gen era. 34th, 33rd, so bad runs last year, but 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 29th, 6th, 4th. I feel like Suarez is the play.
The one rebuttal on that is Suarez is a guy we could possibly use other places, right? Road courses, he could come in handy. There's some other tracks in the schedule where he's been good enough, so you could certainly use him. The other argument against AJ Allmendinger, especially as the season goes on longer and on road courses, is the Dodge relationship. That's going to, as we get closer to the end of the season, when the probably official announcement comes that they're going to switch to Dodge permanently, that would be another reason I wouldn't want to use him later on. Not saying we have to use him this week, but again, just like to keep him in the super speedway conversation, I think that's a good thing. But I don't mind using Suarez here. I think he's been great.
Yep, I do too. And honestly too, my whole thing is I would like to pocket as many JGR, Hendrick Motorsports, and Penske drivers for the end of the season, because there's some telling stats at the end of this season as far as why you hang on to those guys as long as humanly possible. So if we can burn through as many of these Trackhouse and 2311 and, you know, all of these other teams, I'd like to do so because the heavy hitters should be at the end of the season.
Done. Daniel Suarez blocked in. He is the Atlanta pick, Rod.
Boom. All right. Where are we going next?
Let's go road course racing to COTA down in Texas, where everything's a little bit bigger. Yeah, let's do that. That's going to be the 3rd race of the season at the Circuit of the Americas down there in Texas, Rod.
And so when you look at this, instantly the world's going to go, it's time for SVG. It's time for SVG. But I'm telling you now, I'm hanging on to SVG for a later date because we know you can play SVG. So the question is, how soon do we deploy Connor Zilisch? I feel like this is too soon in the season.
Yeah, this is way too soon. And yes, this is way too soon, Rod.
Listen,
Curious though,
win, right?
Where,
we just do well.
Yeah. So SVG, obviously, you're going to use them on one of the 5 course tracks, right? The road courses, 4 of them, or the street course at Coronado. Is that where you're thinking? Is that's the best place? Is Coronado? Because I feel like all the rest of the road courses, you can find somebody that's good at those road courses in particular. We don't know about Coronado. He's going to have a massive advantage there. So I think you're playing him at one of those. So
that's what I was thinking, though. I totally read my mind as far as.
So COTA, who do we want to play here? Alex Bowman, I believe we actually played him here last year in this particular episode because he's been very good at this track. And he had a 9th place finish, which was his worst finish here ever. But still a pretty solid day, right? He's got finishes of 9th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 8th. He's obviously the type of guy you could plug in most places. Do you want to use a big hitter like a Tyler Reddick, who's actually got the best average finish here? Probably not. Do you want to use a Ross Chastain? He hit that massive ticket for us a few years ago. That's always a possibility. Is there anybody that's jumping off the board to you?
The problem is that, like I said, with the Hendrick guys that I want to keep in my pocket, Bowman's not one of those. I feel like we could burn him now, be okay for the rest of the season, because consistency is consistency, and that's great. But I do love the point that he does have an average finish here of 4.5 over the course of the next gen era, which means, you know he's going to be a top 5 finisher week after week after week here, and second only to Tyler Reddick in that instance as well. He has not finished outside of the top 10 in his career at COTA, 8th, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 9th. You can't say that about any other track that he's been on. So I feel like this is the best place for an Alex Bowman.
Yeah, I agree. One other guy I would throw out there, Ty Gilliland, 10th place here last year. He had a 26th and 24, but 10th and 16th in his first 2 starts. He's a guy, there's not going to be a ton of places we're going to use him at. Potential, right? There's potential there. He's been a guy that's good at road courses. I think Alex Bowman has the higher upside, but do you want to save him for an oval later on? Being a Hendrick car, I don't know. I could go either way.
No, I think Alex Bowman is the play because, again, as the other, I guess I should have specified there are 3 Hendrick drivers that I want to keep in my pocket, and Alex Bowman is
Alex
fine.
Bowman is no longer in your pocket, Rod, because he is on the sheet for COTA.
On
so
the sheet. Hang tight.
Alex Bowman it is.
Alex Bowman it is. Let's check in with TK. TK, talk about JJ's top 3 might be the shot this year for the random top 3. I don't hate it. He also says, if anything, Spire having Hendrick engines are more likely to be faster than Trackhouse, but the team needs to be consistent. Talking a little bit about Connor Zilisch being strong against racing for the 2nd year in a row. Could save Connor Zilisch for later, which we will. And then saving Kyle Busch for
save him for real late.
Busch has been good at COTA. He's definitely another option. I think there's probably other places we could use him later on. So we'll keep the 2026 champion in our back pocket, Rod. Also, we missed Marcus at the top of the show. Sorry, Marcus, you were in before us. But he said first, hi, what are your plans for Christmas, New Year's resolution, and predictions for 26? Well, we've been telling you lots of predictions already, so we'll stick with keep checking out the show for that, right? Christmas, I don't know, Rod, you got anything crazy going on?
Nice quiet one. Same thing we always do. Like, girls wake up, we all, eat breakfast, and then they open presents and just kind of hang out the rest of the day. We'll watch Elf. That's the biggest thing we'd love to do on Christmas Day. So yeah, that's our big tradition.
There you go. Love it. And Marcus also predicts Christopher Bell is going to win the Clash, the most races in his career, have a banner year, and win the championship. Probably shocking news to everybody listening, but that's what Marcus thinks.
Indeed. All right, we've got more races to get to, but I want to tell you about our friends over at Novig. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. With Novig, you are getting the absolute prices. Do not believe me? Well, let's talk about that pro football game that we're going on Christmas. It is the Cowboys and the Commanders. The Cowboys for Novig, -7.5 is what you're getting on that, but you're getting it at +106. So you can get Dallas by just over a touchdown at +106. You feel fancy about the Lions beating the Vikings by a touchdown and a half, +105 for that. How about the Denver Broncos? Most places are giving you not very good odds at the 13.5 spread for the Denver Broncos, but Novig is giving you -103 for Denver to beat the the Kansas City Chiefs, who will no longer be the Missouri Kansas City Chiefs, but they'll be the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a whole different story. So make sure you get down on Novig right now. Download the app, get $50 when you spend $5. Use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. Rhythm has been absolutely crushing it this season, especially on props in the NFL. They've been really good at identifying when to fade players and take those unders. College basketball up and running, 300+ schools. Rhythm has predictions for every game, every night, which, like a fine wine, pairs nicely with the daily TCE shows with Matt Colby. And every game, you are prepared. Sign up, super easy. I know, because I could do it. So if I could do it, you could do it. Run predictions off the house model or make your own and play with the sliders. With so many sports in the holidays, makes it easy to get an elite prediction on a game so I can focus on all kinds of other sports. Let's talk about that Kansas City Chiefs game again. How about Chris Oladokun, right? Oladokun is the starting quarterback. Say that 3 times fast. Say it once fast. I don't care. Chris Oladokun is the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. But Rhythm has his prediction at over 151.5 passing yards at -114. Don't believe for a second that Kansas City is going to get comfortable enough to where they can just keep running the ball. So that Oladokun is going to have to be throwing it like mad. So 152 yards is within his wheelhouse as he throws all over trying to keep up with the Broncos. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. How the mighty have fallen. Kansas City just taking a nosedive this year.
You don't want to see injuries, obviously, but the downfall has been beautiful, Rod. All right, let's head out to the desert. Beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. No longer the host of the championship race, but they'll still have 2 races, including one in the spring. And that's where we'll go for the 4th race of the season. I've got one. I'm wanting to burn one of these Gibbs guys already, Rod, because Christopher Bell's won this race in the spring 2 years in a row, and he has been extremely good at this track. Last year, we saved him all year. You waited to play him at New Hampshire, and he fucking sucked, and it was horrible. I hated it. But we saw him come out of the gate early last year, right? He wins Atlanta. He wins Phoenix. He won whatever the next race on the schedule was. I don't remember it this time. But 3 races in a row, right out of the gate after the 500. What do you think about playing Christopher Bell?
Look, 4 of 6, he's been inside of the top 6 with those 2 wins. This is a track where you can point to it and say, this is a Christopher Bell track. Yeah, I want to keep some of these Gibbs drivers in my pocket, but we're talking more of the Denny's and the Chases later on for this one. So yeah, give me Chris Bell here. This is a very good place for him. Like you said, a couple of wins in the last few races, and I don't see that slowing down at all for him at all this year.
Yeah, particularly been better in the spring too, so that's notable. You could make an argument for saving him for later on. Maybe he'll be fine then, but I'd rather play him early. Ryan Blaney, obviously another guy you could look at, been very good here. Ross Chastain has a really good average finish. Denny, of course, but I think we want to play those guys elsewhere. So I think look no farther than Christopher Bell, and we'll play him for the spring Phoenix race. Let's stay in the desert, but head out to Las Vegas for the next race, Rod. You got anybody that catches your eye at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway?
Who do I want to gamble on at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway? This is an instance where we could use a Ross Chastain. He is 2nd overall in average finish here at this track since 2022, since the next gen era began. 8 starts, 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, 7 top 20s. Probably one of his better tracks overall for Ross Chastain. In fact, it's his 2nd best track. His 1st best track is at COTA, and we're not using him there, so we might as well use him at Las Vegas. You could make a case for Martinsville. Obviously, like you said, Phoenix, he's been pretty good too. Kansas, he's at a top 10 average finish, but really, if you're looking in terms of where he's finishing the best more consistently, it is this track at Las Vegas. He's got the most top 5s in the next gen era on this track with 5 of those. So I feel like this is a very good spot to slide Ross Chastain in.
Yeah, I don't really have much of an argument with this. I know last year we went more of the save all the studs for later on. We're kind of using more of them earlier here. I would say in a general sense for both the one and done picks that we made preseason and for my personal picks, it didn't really work out well to be more strategic about it, I guess. So kind of just do them as you see. Like, don't try to pigeonhole specific drivers for certain places, I don't think. So, I don't mind that. You could always look at one of the Vegas natives like a Noah Gragson. Some pretty decent finishes there. 13th in the fall, 18th in 24. He had a 6th place finish here in the spring of 24, but he's coming off of a bad season. Obviously, we could hope that we see something a little bit better from him later on in the year. But yeah, I think Ross Chastain is the.
Yeah, and again, guys like Riley Herbst, you can throw out there just in case if you really feel like throwing one away. But yeah, I feel like making these first ones count a little more because, like I said, with Ross Chastain, he's good at a lot of tracks, but he's really good at this one. And I think you'd be missing out if you don't put him in there as well. All right, to Darlington we go, Cody. I will give you first tips on Darlington.
This seems early for a Darlington race. This early in the season, it does seem a little crazy. But Darlington, this is the type of track where I start to think about a guy like a Chase Briscoe because he's been really good there. Do you want to save him more for the 500, which he's won now 2 years in a row? Eric Jones, always a guy that you think of in this race, but again, that's more particularly at the fall race. I'm having trouble with my stats page loading. Rod, is there anybody that jumps off the page to you?
Well, so I know you like to save Chris Buescher for later in this one, but Chris Buescher at this track over the last several seasons has been pretty phenomenal. Since 2023, 10th place in the spring, 3rd in the fall, 30th in the spring of 2024. Again, mind you, this is May for the spring race in Darlington. So, but 30th in May in 2024, 6th in the fall, 6th in the spring of 2025, and 10th in the fall. So We're looking at 5 top 10 finishes in 7 races. And I feel like that is a pretty good 5 out of 6, rather. My math is a little fuzzy, but yeah, 5 out of 6 top 10 finishes for Chris Buescher. But here's the thing too. We like using Chris Buescher for other tracks.
Yeah, Buescher's kind of like an all-tool player. You could use him anywhere. So might be nice to keep in our back pocket for a boy, who are we going to play this week? You toss in Chris Buescher. I would say that. But again, if you want to burn him early, he's going to be good anywhere. So I don't hate that.
So let me go over some tracks with you that Chris Buescher could be considerations in, right? So Watkins Glen is his best finish, right?
That may end up being like, because we're gonna have to fill out 5 road courses, and we only have 1 SVG. We'll probably begrudgingly use a Connor Zilisch on 1. TK was reading your mind. He says he'd use him at Watkins Glen. I do feel like we should pencil him in at Watkins Glen. I didn't want to pencil people in, but what about Tyler Reddick? If we want to use Tyler Reddick early in the season? I think that, coming off the lawsuit stuff, everything's fine. We kick it into high gear early. He's been really good here last year in particular, 2nd place and 4th place. Led laps in both of those, great stage finishes, gaining a lot of points for this contest. 3 top 10s in a row, 4 top 10s in the last 5. He had 1 bad finish in there in the May of 24 race, but he's been pretty good here. Thoughts on Tyler Reddick?
Well, I will read off his average finishes, his best ones. It's COTA, it's the Roval, and it's Darlington. Is the 3rd best track in the next gen era. So let's go ahead and load up Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys I'd feel better about using on an oval. And I think that this is a good spot to use Mr. Reddick.
All right. So then there it is. Tyler Reddick is our pick at Darlington. So then we move on to Martinsville. We go from one beautiful little short track to another. Martinsville Speedway. Who do you got from Martinsville?
Ryan Preece. Are we jumping on the Preece wagon already, Rod? Actually,
I love that question.
I think so I guess the argument would be there, especially in an even year, to save him for the fall Martinsville race. But Joey Logano, I really want to use at Martinsville because Joey Logano has been really, really good. But I do think, I don't know, it's an even year. Do we think, we don't know the points format yet. What do you think about saving Joey for later, or do you use him early in the spring race?
So then I guess the question to you, or the question for us, if we're considering this, do we think he's going to get out to a decent enough start to use him at an early race, or do we save him for later when he starts picking up steam? Because this is another race that's earlier than it's been in the past. So you talk about Joey Logano getting out to a decent enough start to use him this early, or are we waiting on him? Because here's the thing. 8th place, 8th place, 10th place, 6th place, 5th place, 2nd place, 6th place, 2nd place, 10th place, 6th place. Like, he has not finished outside of the top 10 since 2019 in this race. So you could use him winter, spring, summer, or fall at this track.
Yeah, and you look at like a Ryan Blaney I'd really like to use, but you look at it, and in particular in the fall race, 2nd, 1st, 3rd, the last 4 years in the fall race for Ryan Blaney at Martinsville. So that might be the guy we want to pencil in for the fall Martinsville race. Again, a guy you could use a lot of different places because he's obviously been really good. I don't know. Do we want to use Joey this early? Do we want to save him for the fall when you expect him to pop off more?
I don't actually, you know what, in really considering things, I don't know that there's a time when he pops off, because he's been top 10 every season, whether it's the spring or the winter. So,
but I mean, like fall Phoenix, we could definitely use him. Like, you could just insert him in a random playoff race because he's probably going to be good. So one more guy, Ryan Preece. I did mention him at the top before I loaded the stats, and he's been good here. I mean, 6th and 7th last year. 6, 7. Sorry, I had to do it. 6th and 7th here last year in his first 2 RFK starts. So really solid runs. Had that great race with SHR a couple of years ago where he led the first 135 laps, won the first stage, fought back for 15th after the speeding penalty. I mean, he's been top 15 and 4 in a row. That's not the sexiest of numbers, but you're going to have to use all these guys somewhere, right? How many places are you going to realistically want to use Ryan Preece at? This is his specialty. Maybe this is the year that RFK hits the ground running, Rod. I'm still going to be on that bandwagon. What do we do? Do we just use a Ryan Preece here early, save Logano, save Blaney, use them later on?
Yes, let's do that. Let's take a chance. Because we've been burning a lot of studs lately. Let's go ahead and use Priest here.
This is just a guy who's traditionally good at this type of track. He ran well here in both races last year. He's been good at this track in the past. He always, runs well he always runs like the modified stuff here as well. Not going to be a ton of options to use him necessarily a lot of places. So I think he's a good guy to use in this scenario.
All right, so then let's move on to Bristol, baby, as we start to turn the calendar to April. There's a quick break.
Tyrone Gibbs. Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, I got a little excited, Ron. Is this where Ty Gibbs picks up his first career win? Did I read the Gibbs Almanac wrong? I thought the first career win was going to come at Bristol in the spring of 25, but my calculations might have just been off a little bit. Maybe the spring of 26 was actually the right answer, and this is the correct time to use Ty Gibbs.
Did the Mayan calendar put you behind, and you forgot to adjust for?
I thought it said 2012, and it was actually 2032. So it just I was off by a little bit, but
Ty Gibbs has only missed the top 10 in 2 of his 6 career starts in this one. If you want to use him, go ahead.
Well, I always want to use him. So I would say this has been one of his better tracks, right? He's led a lot of laps here. He led 201 laps here in the fall race, second in stage 2 or 1, first in stage 2. That's a lot of points he's bringing in for you, right? You'd like a little bit of better than 10th place finish, but 3rd place here last spring. That was another good run. You had the 9th place finish where he led 137 laps in the crazy tire race, won both stages in that, won the 5th place here a couple of years ago. Like, this has got to be, I don't have their each driver's best track pulled up like you might.
This is his 5th best track, by the by.
Really?
TK. Yeah. Chicago Street, Michigan, Dover, Mexico City. You could kind of throw that out, but so 4th, I guess. 4th of the race.
Oh, so that brings up a good point. Do we save him for a road course? Because we've got, we only need one more road course guy, right? Because we've already used Bowman. We've got SVG, Buescher, and CZ built into the other 3. So we're just going to need one road course guy. I think we use Ty Gibbs at Bristol because he's been good. Brad Keselowski, definitely a guy we could bring up. He's always been good at this track. Certainly. I mean, Gibbs, you think of the Gibbs speed, right? Maybe you could use him on one of the 1.5 miles, the bigger tracks. I don't trust him as much there, not knowing what we're going to get going into this season. Let me pull up Bradley here.
I'll use Gibbs. It's fine.
Gibbs it is, Rod.
We just spent too much time talking about him already.
Can we clip that? Let's just use Gibbs. I just like that. Producers, we get that done. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that. All right, let's move on to the Kansas Speedway for the Advent 400. This is another one where I think there's one that you really, really, I know you love yourself.
Denny Hamlin?
I mean, but do we want to use him this early? This Denny Hamlin, I just want to save till the end of the year, right? Because
that's when he chokes things away, though. He's really good earlier in the season.
Well, I don't know. He choked it away the last end of it, but
this used to be like plug and play the 2311 guys, but I just don't think we're there anymore. So 1st 1.5 miles of the season, is this where you would just pull second? I guess we've been to Vegas already. Do you just pull the trigger on a Larson already? I mean, he's obviously going to be really good at these types of tracks.
Well, or do you want to
really good at this track?
Do you want to just kind of sandbag it a little bit, because there's other places to use Larson and Hamlin, and we could probably take this one as sort of
look at Denny Wallace here, though. Second,
we're going to use him at Talladega.
He had the 36th in the spring, fine, but 8th, 5th, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th. Denny's been really good at this track.
Right.
You say that about everywhere.
It's true. That's true, though. But if we did this earlier and we'd said that with Ross Chastain being as good as he's been, and that's one of the tracks that he's good at, we should probably stick with that philosophy and just use Denny Hamlin.
There's nobody that's really super jumping off. So if we don't use Denny, who are we going to use?
Well, we've
already used Bowman. We've already used Bell.
How
you
far
could burn a Blaney, but you don't really want to here. Bubba's definitely always an option, but he's just not been as good here down the stretch as he once was. Then you're starting to get into the weeds a little bit, which again, we're going to have to use guys eventually. I get it. But Denny's been so good here. I think we just plug him in.
Yep. I say that too. You've convinced me to use Denny Hamlin for Kansas. Talladega.
I'm glad you wanted to save all those Gibbs guys since we've used 3 of them already.
Sometimes you just have to adapt your strategy. As I was going to say, sometimes you have to adapt your strategy to just go with the flow. I wanted to go one way.
Us out, by the way. McDowell's the other road course guy. That's definitely the other guy we got to plug in. So,
yeah. All right, Talladega. Do we want to use the Bubba Wallace angle on this one?
No, I think you say Bubba for an oval track because he's good, right? Indy's a place you could use him. I mean, you could use him at any of the 1.5 miles, the Michigans of the world. Like, I think you have to burn another shitty driver here, Rod. If we're going to be honest,
well, maybe not too bad. How about Todd?
Well, okay. I mean, yes. I would put him farther down on the list than a Bubba Wallace. But yeah, I think like these are the types of guys, right? Is the Todd Gillilands of the world. Although I feel like there's spots we could use him certainly, but he's been really good here. So I will say that.
Fall, 16th in the spring, 23rd, 8th, 12th, 10th, 7th, 27th.
Okay, fine.
So
Todd Gilliland. I'm already writing it down.
Boom.
Gilly Gang unite at Talladega. I'm writing that on the sheet. Gilly Gang.
Gilly Gang.
Okay. Thank you. Next.
Next, we move on to the great state of Texas for the Texas race out there, the spring Texas race, as it were. Another 1.5 miles. Looking at guys like Byron, Logano, Suarez, Keselowski, we might be able to use here. That's an interesting play.
Keselowski is an interesting play. I feel like
finishes 28th. Let me read off his finishes so you can make a more informed decision. He had a streak of top 10 finishes snapped since July of 2020. He snapped that in the spring race of 2025 with a 28th place finish. But before that, 2nd, 7th, 8th, 9th, 4th, 2nd, 6th, 9th, right? A lot of those were in the 2 car, but a majority of them from the last 2 years have been in the 6 car as well. So it's a pretty good track record.
Suarez, oddly good at Texas, just to keep that in the back of your mind for betting purposes. He's been weirdly good here. That was a side note. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, Keselowski, otherwise potentially pulling the Byron card. There's obviously a lot of places you could use him, but Texas in particular, he's been very good. A lot of solid finishes here.
Well, this is his 4th best track, Keselowski. He goes Iowa, Michigan, Richmond, and then Texas. So,
okay.
As far as average finishes is concerned.
What about going to left field and using Riley Herbst? Because down the stretch, he was good at 1.5 miles. He finished 14th here last year in this race. Remember, we used him a bunch of times in fantasy down the stretch. I don't know if we want to throw out a wild card like that yet.
It's like, how deep in the bag do you want to go?
I know. That's the question, Ron. But where are we going to use him? I think is definitely a question. He's potentially a super speedway guy. You could certainly make that case, but there's only 6 super speedway guys. So Vegas, you could certainly pull the home card track late in the year. I don't know. Herbst or Keselowski, your call.
I feel like Keselowski. If we're gonna go with what we continue to do and put the guys in the right spots, then this is the guy in the right spot. We'll figure out the rest of the season afterwards, I guess. We're going down, and we're going down swinging at the end of this. We're going to build up such a big lead that we're not going to need it.
That's what I saw last year from guys was they just built up such a big lead that they were just able to nurse it home. And so that's the other good thing, too, is if you use the knowns early, and this is really what I learned from doing it more last year, right, is if you use the knowns early, the unknowns will answer themselves as we go along because you'll be like, oh, wow, Daniel Suarez is actually – okay, well, we already used him, bad example. You'll be like, Riley Herbst has been running really well on this type of track in particular. You use him the next time that comes up. And he'll be – the later we wait to use him, he'll be farther into his second season, and I'll have a better chance at having learned more and whatever, like we saw with an SVG on the ovals, that type of stuff. So, yeah, I don't mind using these bigger hitters earlier because, again, last year saving them strategy didn't necessarily pan out.
Indeed. I was going to do that again, but you talked me out of it, so I love it. Watkins Glen, we've already picked it, right? We already
Yes.
decided
Christopher
we were gonna
Busher.
use Chris Busher at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, he's
Talked
been
to
just lights out here. I mean, we don't really need to talk about it too much more because he's been very good here, and we've already kind of penciled that in earlier on. So Chris Busher at Watkins Glen moves us to the All-Star race at Dover, where we of course will not pick anyone, Rod. That's kind of early in this. Well, I guess it's not really early in the season, but feels early in the season. And then that leads us into the Coca-Cola 600 at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. This has got to be the William Byron race, doesn't it? I don't even have the stats pulled up yet, and I'm feeling William Byron on this one.
So out of the folks that we've already, I mean, listen, as far as average finishes on this track, it's Kevin Harvick, it's Martin Truex Jr., it's AJ Allmendinger, it's Christopher Bell, it's Kyle Busch, and then it's William Byron. William Byron's got 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s in the last few races here. And yeah, outside of active drivers are concerned, AJ Allmendinger's only got 2 races on this track in the next gen era, so we can't pull too much from that. But if you look at William Byron, it's been 2nd, 3rd, 2nd, 32nd, and 4th over the last few seasons. So that 32nd, obviously the outlier, but when you're talking 4 top 4 finishes in 5 races, it's hard to ignore.
Yeah, and like this is a race that's going to pay more points, so that's important to know. You don't necessarily want to burn more of a back marker at this one when it is a race that has 3 stages, right? And they pay out for all 3 stages plus the race. You want to get a guy that you can trust, in the long term. As far as making it the 600 miles, he dominated this race last year, led 283, won the first 2 stages, and obviously finished 2nd to Chastain at the end of the day, but 3 top 3s in a row. He's led a ton of laps in each of those races, been very good here. I think this is the Byron spot.
And, again, it makes it tough because when you talk about these guys that are out there winning the races last year, it started off with Byron, Bell, Barry, Larson, Hamlin, Larson, Cindric, Logano, Larson, Chastain, Blaney. That gets us to Nashville, where we're going to pretty much stop as well. And then Hamlin, SVG, Briscoe. Like, the names continue, and you got to pick somebody that's not just necessarily going to out and out win this race. You could use William Byron so much earlier than this, you could argue. But I think, like you said, this is a perfect spot for him to just sort of break the seal and load up on William Byron. So I'm with you on that.
Love
Nashville.
Let's head to the Music City, baby.
Woo-hoo. Music City. It's Nashville. It's the Cracker Barrel 400. Again, if you look at the average finishes, see, this is what makes it tough, right? When you look at the top drivers of these, Kurt Busch is up top, obviously, but he's not an active driver. But Hamlin, Larson, Zane Smith pops into this with top 5. And
is this host of ours first career win though, Rod?
You notice the silence.
If he doesn't win at Daytona, could he win here?
I will tell you that I'm not falling for Zane Smith. So,
but he's been good here both times. I mean,
yeah.
Now, granted, the second place was that crazy 6 overtime fuel race, right? So 16th in the other race. I guess you could throw an asterisk on that. This is the type of track you think about a guy like a Chase Elliott. It is concrete where he tends to be better. We don't have Dover as an option this year, but 15th and 18th the last 2 years is not impressive. 4th and 1st the 2 previous years to that. 39th in 21 though.
So then do we plug our nose? Because he's been good at Michigan also, Zane Smith. Zane Smith has 2 top 10s. This is his best track is Michigan, and his second best is Nashville. So are we going to try to save him for Michigan, or do we just use him for Nashville and plug our nose?
Yeah, I'm not. So I think you're right though. Don't overreact to the second place because it was 5 overtimes in. So I think then you just look at it as a 16th place. Fine, we could plug him in somewhere else where we feel is necessary, Michigan potentially or whatever. I think we hold on that. I think this is Carson Hocevar race. Two good finishes here in his 2 starts. He was also good here in the Truck Series. I don't have it pulled up, but I believe he won here. 2nd place here in this last year. 16th in his first start as he was building up in that rookie season. Oddly enough,
it is his best track, statistically speaking. So yeah,
the same exact finishes Zane has, a 2nd and a 16th. But yeah, I think this is Carson Hocevar first career win, Rod. So yeah, give me Hocevar in this one.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, you're getting Hocevar too because I just wrote him down. So It's already locked in, unchangeable.
All right, so then Michigan is the next race on the board. We just had the
shit,
Him-Haw
we got
session.
there quick.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, life comes at you fast.
Oh God, I wasn't looking ahead. All right, Zane Smith, plug him in, right? Honestly, this might be a good spot to use him because, as you mentioned, he's been good here. Seems to be good on that intermediate. Michigan, it's a big fast track. He's gotten the good results here. A Denny Hamlin, who we've already used, is always going to be a good option here. And I would say Tyler Reddick, but really his average finish isn't that good. Ty Gibbs has been pretty good here, Rod, so that's notable. But I do think this is a good spot to use Zane Smith. We just had the conversation about him. You mentioned this is his best track. So let's plug in Mr. Smith.
Yeah, his average finish is 7th because he's finished 7th in both of the races. He started 10th in the early race in 2025, started 27th and finished 7th in the fall race of 2025. So feel comfortable about Michigan for young Zane Smith, which takes us to the Poconos, baby. It is the Pocono Speedway, the Tricky Triangle. Do you have somebody that you are super excited about at Pocono?
Who do I think about when I think of Pocono, Rod? Honestly, nobody comes straight to mind.
Other than Martin Truex, but he's not with us anymore.
Well, Martin Truex, he comes up at a lot of places, though. Chase Elliott's been really good here. So Elliott is a hard one to pick, right? Because he's very good at a lot of places. Hitting him in the right week can be tough. 5th, 9th, 10th, 1st in the next gen era. So he's been solid, good stage finishes in most of those races. This could certainly, as you're picking week to week, we're obviously picking everything before we have any information, right? You probably keep an eye on when he starts to get hot because he is a heat up driver, a streaky driver. So might be a guy that you use for that. Eric Jones is an interesting case. You maybe burn him in the Darlington in the Southern 500 because he's good at Darlington, but we could potentially be using Chase Briscoe there. What about using Chase Elliott here?
I was just about to say that he is the highest active driver as far as average finish is concerned. He's got a win here, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s in this one. So, and if you look at his finishes here over the last few seasons for Chase Elliott, it's been pretty okay. 6th place or 5th place rather in the fall, or I guess in the only race in 2025. You get used to saying it and you just keep saying it. But 2025, he finished 5th, 9th, 10th. He won this race in 2022. So 4 solid races for Chase Elliott. I was going to say, because you can use Chase Elliott almost anywhere, but this is his 4th best track overall. 3rd, really, because Mexico City is the top of it, but it goes Sonoma, Dover, Pocono for Chase Elliott. So I feel like this could be a good spot for him.
Yeah, like it. Plug Chase Elliott in there, Rod. We're at 16 races. There's 36. We've got 2 more till hit halfway. It's been a long episode. It's San Diego. It's Sonoma. These are easy ones, right? You're going to take SVG at San Diego. This is the one to use him at because he's going to have the advantage over everybody else. He'll likely win all 5 of them, but this is the one you want him at. In Sonoma, this is where we plug in Mr. McDowell. We'll save Zilisch for the last one, whatever, because we're going to probably have to use him at one of them. But Michael McDowell has been very good at Sonoma, and of course the tab doesn't want to reopen where I had it, but a 4.0 average finish in 4 races here in the next gen era. 4th, 2nd, 7th, 3rd. That's really fucking solid. He obviously won a couple of years ago, and that was making the change from front row over to Spire. Didn't miss a beat, still got good finishes. So SVG will plug him in at the inaugural race at Coronado. Michael McDowell goes in at Sonoma. And that gets us through the first half of the schedule.
That's so beautiful. That's we never worry about filling out an entire hour for these because we're always like, this is why we make it.
Usually it's the opposite. It's can we make this only an hour is the problem generally.
Yeah, we're always like, all right, well, we know we need to make this into a 2-parter because just an hour is not enough to talk about all 36 races unless we just breeze through it. We like to teach you, right? We don't like to just give you things. We want to make you earn it.
Yeah, and like we could just go and be like, okay, touchdown Flores, and just read them off, but that really wouldn't be a lot of fun. It's good to have the conversations, walk through them. We don't, and like we specifically don't pick these ahead of time. Like we don't come in with a pre, we haven't been figuring, this guy, because we want to have the conversation as we go. make it be organic and make the choices as we go along. I'll bring up points you like. You'll bring up points I like. We'll talk about Hocevar and Gibbs as much as possible. You love that. And makes it a fun time.
Oh, man, let's get going before I have to think about them anymore. Good thing they're already burned through and I don't got to listen to them in part 2. But you should listen to us in part 2. For those of you watching on the YouTubes, hang tight. We're going to fire right back up with part 2 on the YouTube. And then for those of you who are listening in the podcast realm, hang tight. You'll get it tomorrow morning in your feed. It'll be Christmas morning in your feed. So we'll have that nice little present for you as you're trying to pay attention to your family with your earbuds in, listening to us instead of whatever argument is going on between uncles and aunts. So
see, that's why the Santa hat's perfect. You just slide it over your ear. Nobody knows you got an earbud in there. It's perfect.
Nobody knows. All right, folks, hang tight. Like I said, we'll be right back with more. And for those of you listening on the traditional feed, hang tight. We'll be back tomorrow with more. So in the meantime, Cody, let everybody know where they can find you outside of this space.
At @NASCAR_Zeeb. Lots and lots of football going on this week for Christmas. Check it all out. I got tons of articles over there at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. See you guys in a little bit.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find all that I'm up to as far as stuff outside of this and me just having fun with my San Francisco 49ers and getting all fired up about officials. That's on the feed there as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow if you're listening traditionally, and then in just a few minutes if you're on the YouTube. So until then, let's go racing and let it ride.